Hi, this is Jonathan Byrd, and you're listening to my podcast. This is called Finest Groceries in the Kingdom, How I Learned to Be Thankful, and was originally written November 28th, 2013, on Thanksgiving Day. Happy Thanksgiving. I've been avoiding the internet lately, but I'd like to take a moment to tell you where I've been. What I've seen this past week has made me more thankful than ever. Last Monday, I filled my backpack with my worst clothes, jeans with holes in the knees that I'd saved for painting, oversized flannel shirts and hoodies, generic white socks, and a pair of hiking boots. I had let my face grow long for a week. Somewhere between home and Charlotte, I bought a camouflage ballcap at a truck stop. I reserved a room at the cheapest motel I could find, tucked along I-85 between two fast food joints and a row of brick apartments uniform as Army base housing. The exterior of the motel was painted fresh yellow and orange with white faux half timbers. The marquee read, "Under new management." For less than most of us spent on groceries yesterday, I got 4 nights with 2 beds, 2 mismatched chairs, a floor lamp with no bulb, a desk with chipboard guts leaking through its formica skin, and a single-serve coffee maker on the bathroom sink. Let's not talk about the carpet. I set up a laptop, an electric typewriter, and a ream of paper on the desk. On my way upstairs and down the hall, carrying the last load to my room, I passed a maid's cart and nicked a few more bags of coffee. I did that at least once a day, all week. I was there to work on a novel. I was there to look up at the glass bottom. Every day I put on thick, frowsy layers of my oversized beater duds, drove downtown and parked on North Tryon just inside the Brookshire Freeway, where skyscrapers frame the sky on the highest hill of the second largest banking center in the United States. I mapped out the downtown, called Uptown, in Charlotte. In the middle of the day, most of the people I saw on the northeast side were living on the street. You might miss them if you weren't looking for them. They didn't ask for money. They didn't sprawl out or sleep on benches. I wandered around to businesses. The staff almost removed me from a museum. I asked them where the coffee house was, and they became too confused to evict me. The only people who didn't think I was homeless were the homeless. I went into the 7th Street open market on the first day and toyed with my new superpower. I walked up to the coffee counter, where the girl on staff quickly walked away from me and looked over at her male counterpart. I ordered a $4 cup of coffee, pulled $100 from my pocket, and fumbled for a $5 for my own entertainment. I'm not judging anybody. I knew exactly what these people were feeling and thinking. I have felt it and thunk it. I was examining my head as much as anything. The libraries were amazing. Charlotte's Children's Library, Imagine On, is brilliant in its architecture, vision, and staffing. It was also the first place I was treated like a person. I asked about programs for homeless children and was cheerfully sent upstairs to the offices. Later, I found the main library. The street people were in there by the hundreds. They were reading the paper, using the internet, looking for jobs, reading for love, quiet as mice, shaving and washing up in the bathroom and leaving it spotless. When I asked for help, the staff was so courteous that I forgot I was in disguise until one lady politely tried to figure out what my situation was so that she could help me find whatever services I might need. I did notice a police presence. I was thankful that the city would spend the money on a few officers to keep this sanctuary for the most vulnerable population. The main library, from what I saw, is one of the best tools in the homeless's fight against homelessness. I talked to guys on the street. They didn't want to talk about it. They didn't like it when I didn't give them money. They didn't like it when I did. They knew I was bullshit. I kept bugging them. and they loosened up. One gave me his resume, 2 pages long, 16 years experienced industrial technician, Marine Corps veteran. About a third of the people I met had associate's or bachelor's degrees. I met one with a PhD. They showed me their hands, scarred a few blocks away in a salvage yard, digging through rubble and beating the mortar off of old bricks to reuse them. The job paid $40 a pallet. They told me it took a day or 2 to fill a pallet. They smiled at me and said, in unison, "Slave labor." I asked them why they didn't ask people on the street for money. They rolled their eyes. You get in trouble. They got undercover cops down here. I asked them what they did the week before when it was 20 degrees out. Same thing I do every night. I don't like this shelter. I won't go in there. I did some time. Some guys out here just got out of jail. They wouldn't set foot in the men's shelter if it was 20 below zero. They all talked about God. Lord willing. The good Lord has helped me a lot. I'd be lost without God's help. I ate lunch at the Urban Ministry Center. That's where I found the women and children, babies in strollers, wigs and painted fingernails, pantsuits and jewelry, as much dignity as they could afford. "Sunday morning, 28 degrees, one man said. He whistled at the dire news. "I'm looking for a job. I can't do no heavy work. I'm 60 years old. Be in the bed with a sore back and can't get to work, and then I lose that one. I spent $400 getting my CDL, he said. I'm fixing to retire. Wait a minute." He dug in his wallet. He held the card up and smiled with his whole face. "Commercial driver's license," it said, in gold lettering across the top. A lady inside the soup kitchen sang into a karaoke machine. "And I think to myself, what a wonderful world." The soup was surprisingly good. I put my sandwiches and a bag of chips in my hoodie pocket and thanked the staff. I left and walked downtown. Along the way, a large young man stood smoking. "You interested in making $100 a day?" he asked. I wasn't. Back downtown, I saw a man I'd already met. An older woman sat on the bench in front of him, wrapped in a light blanket, her face contorted with sickness or grief or both. The man smiled up at me and said, "I'll see you this afternoon." I got around the corner and remembered I had the sandwiches and the chips in my hoodie pocket. I went back to give it to him. As I walked back toward them, I saw him digging in his backpack. He took out a small orange sleeping bag, unzipped it, whipped it in the air to fluff it out, and spread it over the woman like a blanket. He sat down on the bench beside her and hugged her. I walked up and handed him the sandwich and chips. He smiled at me again, but with reservation. Tired of taking things and living without walls. Over the week, my motel room became a glittering palace. I practiced yoga on the carpet without reservation. I took a hot bath in the gritty tub and blew bubbles of thanks. Yesterday, at home with my family, I paid $200 for 3 bags of the finest groceries in the kingdom. I sat in a warm house and watched the snow fall on the pond. I wondered where my new friends were sleeping. One of them just texted me to wish me a happy Thanksgiving. I thought I'd pass it along. Thanks so much for listening to my podcast. This post is public, so feel free to share it. Jonathan Byrd on Substack is a reader-supported publication. To receive new posts and support my work, consider becoming a free or a paid subscriber. Thanks so much. Have a great Thanksgiving.